national championship is in the balance. 13 seconds left. Florida leads it by 2.
Uzan gonna go.
Uzan, give it up. Cryer, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. Sharp.
He won't. He can't touch it.
He can't. 1 second. It's over.
Florida is back on top of the college basketball world. Championship madness. It's a great day to be a Gator. They win the national title.
Cougars. We're talking about the Cougars. Cougars. It's the mother. Can't say that word, Cougars. There's no worse hangover than making it all the way to the championship game only to see your favorite team lose. There's really nothing worse. And your boy's been hungover quite a few times in his life. I'd prefer the alcohol poisoning. I'd prefer to be curled up around the toilet. I'd prefer my stomach to be leaving my stomach than to experience that again. It sucks. And yeah, Paul Gallant is a bandwagon Houston Cougar fan, but I felt like I got punched in the gut last night. Maybe a little stab or two. What a brutal way to go out. What a brutal end to what was really an incredible season by a Houston sports team. They went 35-5, these Houston Cougars, and they had this thing. They had it. That's the worst part about it. You know, as we all deal collectively with this hangover with the Cougs, once again, unable to knock the door down and get that first ever championship. Now 0-3 in the national title. You know they effed up. You know they blew this. You know that they screwed up. And I'm sure there's some people out there that are angry today, but I can't be that. That is not happening for me today, despite what the Cougars did, which is choke this game away. I mean, this was a choke. 12-point lead in the second half. Their last 4 possessions ended with a turnover. They were winning for 30 minutes and 44 seconds of last night's national title game against the Florida Gators. Florida was just winning for 1 minute and 3 seconds. The last of them, the last 46, ultimately get them the win. Houston trailed for 63 seconds all night. It's the 3rd biggest comeback in NCAA title game history, and Florida did it without making a field goal for the last 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Choke. You don't want to call it that because of what this team is and what this team's been, but that last play in particular, and really the last 30 seconds for Emmanuel Sharp. I feel horrible for him, but he blew it. Kelvin Sampson and Jawan Roberts, after the game, both said the last play of the game was designed to go to LJ Cryer, the Cougs' best scorer, probably their best player. And if that didn't work, it would be an elevated screen for Emmanuel Sharp. And instead, what we saw with those last, 16 seconds or so was just very, very slow development. And ultimately, Emmanuel Sharp second guessed himself while jumping up for what would have been the go ahead three, but the Cougs were down just two. And it wasn't Sharp's only gaff down the stretch. 30 seconds to go. He gets stripped by Will Richard, who forced Sharp to basically throw it out of bounds with 26 seconds to go. And there were other mistakes too. The turnover after Tugler got a rebound. LJ Cryer did a Jalen Green. He had a baseline drive to nowhere. He loses the ball. I mean, reliving all of it sucks. And I know how this sports town generally rolls. When something horrible happens, everyone wants to just move on. No one wants to relive it. And I get it. I mean, that game last night, whether you went to the University of Houston or you were just along for the ride, ow. I saw someone post, this was just like 1983, NC State against the Cougs, where, I mean, take a look at the end of that game. NC State almost screwed that one up on that last possession. If you've gone and you've watched the replay, and they take a last second deep shot, it's nowhere close to going in. And then Lorenzo Charles's ass comes out of nowhere, grabs the ball, tips it in. That's it. And I mean, here you are, much like in 1983, losing to the youngest coach since Jim Valvano in Todd Golden, who also doesn't exactly have the best track record off the court, if you will. So I feel for all these guys. It was really hard this morning watching all these young men going through it afterwards, meeting with reporters in the locker room right after it went down. In particular, I really felt for Malik Wilson, who was straight crying. No shame in that. No shame in that when you come that close and it ends like that. But hearing Roberts talking about how, like, this is it. I can't be with the team next year. Hearing Kelvin Sampson talk about how special this team was. It just sucks. So if you want to vent, you can. We are the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. 713-780-3776 to call in, to text in, on YouTube at ESPN Houston, on Twitch at ESPN 975. I am wearing the Cougar hat again today. Wore it out last night. Watched the first half of the game at Porch Swing Pub. Watched the second half of the game at FAO, which was where we did the show yesterday. At least had some nice drinks along the way. Watched it with some fun people. But that was tough. We're all here for each other today, so you know how to get aboard. We've already got people blaming Ted Cruz on the text line and on Twitch. We got people doing it on YouTube as well. I know people are blaming the referees. I know that that is the easiest thing to do in a game where in the first half, 4 fouls called, second half, completely different game. There's lots of things to point the finger at. Sadly, the one that you have to point the finger at the most are the Cougs. They shot themselves in the foot in this one. They did choke it away, no matter how much we like them, no matter how much we appreciate all they were able to do this season. It was a joke, and it sucks. I really feel for these kids. Paul, they're young adults. You get what I'm saying here. It's absolutely brutal to have something ripped away from you by your own doing. And I mean, no one's feeling worse than they are today. I saw afterwards, they were actually going out of the locker room and signing autographs and mingling with fans after that. God, that's got to suck. Like, I can't imagine doing that. Hell, I was just thinking about how Walter Clayton was going up to Emmanuel Sharp after that moment happened. I'm going to make my first funny of the show. If Walter Clayton had done that to me, I am dropping his ass. I am going to town. The story is no longer about losing the national title, Sean. It's about the assault that I just committed on someone who was being a really good sport because I would have felt patronized.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he being a good sport? Is he being a good sport by doing that? I don't know.
I mean, Sharp was on the ground
No.
like it's the end of Platoon minus the gunshots.
Yeah, but you didn't see the Vietnamese walk over, be like, "You all right?
You all right, buddy?" Yeah, that didn't happen.
You're all right, Willem Dafoe?"
Yeah. That moment.
I
pissed
hate
me off.
it whenever that happens, and
I hate
everyone
it.
always goes like, "What class?" And
What class?
I am always like, if I was on the ground, I'd punch him in the
Yep,
stomach.
100%. Right in the
Get away
nads.
from me, dude.
I am going Draymond on your ass. Or Dylan Brooks.